For decades, we've been told a very simple story. High cholesterol causes heart disease. It's shaped our diets, our medicine, and, let's be honest, a lot of our fears. But what if that story isn't the whole story? A brand new study is challenging this idea, and we are going to dive right in. So let's just start with the biggest question of all. Is this link between cholesterol and heart disease a stone-cold fact? Or is it just an idea we've accepted for so long that it feels like a fact? This is really at the heart of what we're exploring today. And the answer, well, it might just surprise you. To really get what's happening, we've got to look back. The story basically kicks off in the 1950s with something called the lipid hypothesis. And notice that word, hypothesis. It was a theory. But by the 70s, it got adopted as official policy. And that's what sparked the whole low-fat food craze. Then came the 80s and statin drugs. And boom, LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, was cemented in our minds as public enemy number one. A theory had become dogma. But, science loves a good puzzle, and a new one has popped up that just doesn't fit into this neat little story. And this brings us to a fascinating group of people who are challenging everything we thought we knew. They're called lean mass hyper-responders, or LMHRs for short. And just picture this. These are people who are typically lean, they're fit, they're super healthy, but with one massive exception. Their LDL cholesterol levels are, by any normal standard, just through the roof. And here is the paradox in a nutshell. On the one hand, you see this perfect picture of health, lean, no inflammation, great blood pressure. But on the other hand, you see their lab results, which would make most doctors sound the alarms, sky-high LDL and this other related particle called ApoB. And this is key, look at the rest. They also have super low triglycerides and really high HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. It's a complete medical contradiction, and it demands an explanation. So if these people are so healthy, what in the world is all that LDL cholesterol actually doing? Is it dangerous? To find out, a really unique team decided it was finally time to put this paradox to a real scientific test. And what a team. You've got a Harvard medical student, a citizen scientist, software engineer who basically taught himself all of this, and one of the world's top cardiologists. It's this amazing mix of grassroots curiosity and the medical establishment. And they set out to do what nobody had done before, actually follow these LMHRs and see if their arteries were in fact getting clogged up. Now check this out. Just look at the difference. After 1 year, the control group had a pretty standard LDL of 123. But the LMHR group, their average was 272. That is more than double. That's a level that would typically get you an immediate and very aggressive prescription for medication. And if you thought 272 was high, get ready for this. The single highest LDL recorded in one person was 591. Let me say that again. 591. That number isn't just off the charts, it's in a different universe. According to everything we've been taught, this person should be in serious, serious trouble. But were they? Okay, this is the moment of truth. The research team used these incredibly high-resolution CT scans to precisely measure every little bit of plaque buildup in the arteries over a full year. And the results were absolutely not what anyone was expecting. And here is the bombshell finding in a powerful quote right from the study. Plaque progression originates from its starting point, not from ApoB. Now, ApoB is basically the protein that carries the bad cholesterol around. It's often considered the real culprit. This finding is a direct challenge to that idea. Let's break that down because this is so important. What this means is that the single best thing that predicted whether someone's plaque got worse was how much plaque they already had when the study started. Their incredibly high LDL and ApoB numbers were not the determining factor. It was all about the condition of the artery wall itself. So this just begs a massive question. If sky-high LDL isn't the main driver, at least in this healthy group, then what is? This study is helping us build a much bigger, more complete picture of what really causes heart disease. The evidence is starting to suggest that the first step in forming plaque isn't just cholesterol floating by. It's damage. Damage to the delicate inner lining of our arteries. And what causes that damage? Things like chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, which is the root of diabetes, high blood pressure, and other diseases. It seems like it's only after the wall is damaged that cholesterol becomes part of the problem. Okay, so this is all really important research, but what does it mean for you, for your health? how can we actually use this info to think a little more clearly about our own health and our own lab results? This is the key question, right? If we shouldn't just panic over our LDL number, what should we be looking at instead? Well, fortunately, the data gives us some really clear clues. Two of the most powerful and honestly more reliable markers for your metabolic health are your triglycerides and your HDL cholesterol. Why these two? Well, think of it this way. High triglycerides are a direct sign that your body is having trouble processing sugars and carbs. And high HDL? That's like the cleanup crew helping to clear excess stuff out of your arteries. So together, these two numbers give you a much better snapshot of what's really going on than LDL can by itself. And here's some really great, actionable news. If your triglycerides are high, the most effective way to lower them isn't by cutting fat. It's by cutting way down on refined carbs and sugar. It's pretty straightforward. Reduce the junk, increase healthy fats, and then go get retested in about 3 months. A lot of people see incredible improvements fast. Now, of course, we need to look at any study with a critical eye, and this one had some major strengths. It was the absolute first of its kind for this unique population. They used cutting-edge tech for super precise measurements, and almost nobody dropped out, which is huge. But most importantly, it had the courage to challenge a 50-year-old belief. But it is just as important to be honest about the limitations. It was only 1 year long, and we know heart disease takes decades to develop. These were very healthy people, so we can't say these results apply to everyone. They measured plaque changes, not actual heart attacks or deaths, and it was a relatively small study. So this is not the final word, but it is a powerful and very important first chapter in a new story. Which really leaves us with this final thought. This research pushes us to ask a much better question. Instead of living in fear of a single number, like LDL, taken out of context, maybe we should be focusing on the complete picture. Our inflammation, our blood sugar, our blood pressure, our entire metabolic health. Because as this new research suggests, context is everything.